Love, sex, and rock and roll.
Minus the rock and roll part.
Minus, yeah.
I can't play the guitar. Hi everyone, I'm Rob.
And I'm Devin.
And we're dads.
Not daddies.
We're here with...
Michael Rizzi.
Michael Rizzi. We're in West Hollywood right now, and we thought we would shoot a little video together to talk about relationships.
Relationships.
Yeah.
Michael is telling us he's been with his boyfriend for about 4 years.
Yeah, it'll be our 4-year anniversary soon, next month.
So,
congratulations.
They met and started dating when you were 18, 19.
Yeah, it was my freshman year of university.
And we met and started dating when we were 27.
And we've been together for coming up on
almost 3 years.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to talk about kind of the differences of those different phases in life and like the values you have when you are looking for a relationship, starting a relationship, and sort of the milestones that you go through in a relationship.
Briefly, like, how did you meet your boyfriend? Where were you at when you met?
It's actually a really cute story how we met. It was St. Patrick's Day weekend, so everyone was like getting ready to drink. It was like first year university, so everyone's just going like crazy. I see some of my floor mates walking towards me, and they're with this guy. And I look over at him, and he kind of smiles and does this nodding. I was like, okay. And I go back to my room, and I was like, that guy, I was like, I don't know, something about him just like threw me off a little bit. So one of the girls that was with him texts me and goes, you know, I'm really trying to set you up with Chris this weekend. And I was like, who's Chris? And like, oh, that guy that, you know, we were with. So it turns out what happened was he saw me, was like, oh, I'm really into that guy. And they're like, oh, well, he's gay. And he's like, oh, what?
What? Me too!
Amazing. I did not like him to begin with. He's loud, he is very forward, and I'm a bit more reserved.
Oh, I was gonna say, and you're the loud and forward one, so you can't have someone else like
no,
stealing
you haven't met Chris. You think I'm loud, you have not met Chris. We hooked up a couple times that weekend, and
so like first off, like
yeah, I mean, like I was my first year of university. I was like, whatever, let's have some fun.
Hey, girl. Yeah.
He steals my sweatpants so that he can have a way to talk to me.
Oh,
messages me like a month
the games
later.
we play.
Yes, absolutely. He sends like a shirtless selfie, like with the sweatpants. I have your sweatpants. Then flash forward like 4 months and some series of events that occurred between that, and we were dating.
And that's adorable.
And now we're still dating.
And I can't get rid of it.
He doesn't want to seem to leave.
You dated for how long before you guys decided to move in then?
Oh gosh, that would have been because we just started. So we were dating for 3 years before we moved together.
So you've only been living together for like a year then.
Yeah, I paced things out a lot. Like I didn't start dating him for probably like 4 months, and then moving in, I would not move in with him just because I take things slow.
We, on the other hand,
we're basically lesbians. So.
Well, although we did not hook up immediately.
And here's the thing too, is like I feel like, sorry mom if you're watching this, I feel like there were some people that I would go on dates with, and I didn't have any reservations about just sleeping with them because I was like, meh, whatever. But when it's like something where you're like, oh, there's actually something here, it forces you to kind of think about like, do I want to, is this going to mess it up? Like, you think more about it, you know what I mean?
We met on Tinder, which for straight people is Grindr. But for gay people, because we have Grindr,
that's what I've been told.
It's less focused on hookups.
Devin was living far away. We met in the middle. We went and had wings and beer. Like, it was super.
First off, there was no place for us to go like have sex immediately.
Right.
Right. I guess
we weren't gonna do it in the back of the car. It's like we're not driving back down to my place. We're not driving. It was on a Tuesday, so it's like
even on our second date, we had an opportunity to hook up, and we didn't because. Like, we wanted to take it slow and make sure that there was something there before we just confuse things with physicality, I think.
Sure.
Is the approach that we were going at it.
Fair.
Which is, it's weird, you guys had a completely different experience than me because Chris and I were in such close vicinity when we first started seeing each other, for that weekend at least, like, it was only physical, and then he lived about a couple hours away.
And convenient to do so.
And convenient to do so, absolutely.
Right.
And then that summer, I moved back home from university, so I didn't stay in university during the summer, and he lived about a couple hours away, so we didn't actually end up going on dates. He would just come over to my city once in a while. We'd, you know, hang out for a day. He would usually come with his brother and some of his friends, and we would just hang out for the day, but we didn't actually do what you guys did and actually go on those like formal dates. We still now go on lots of dates, but to begin with we didn't, because I think we also started dating at a very immature time. We were like 18 years old.
The amount of time and effort that you put into, especially when it's a long distance thing, of like, I have to make a conscious effort I already put in like a 9 or 10 hour day at work and now I want to go and do this, like it makes you kind of reevaluate when it's not convenient to like force yourself to choose what you actually want to be doing, right?
Right. And so we actually, because of the distance, it probably pushed us to move in with each other earlier than we normally would have.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. Just like, move, please.
Yes.
Please.
And I think for me, like, when I was, 18, 19, living with someone was it was a big deal because you lived with roommates, right? And you hated your roommates. You always hated your roommates. Like, well, I don't want to hate you, so let's just not move in together. And I think we moved in because we got to a point where we were so frustrated with like, why am I just coming to sleep over your place all the time? And like, you have to ask your roommates when I come over. Like, so we got pushed into it basically. Right. I mean, it took 3 years, but we got pushed into it. And I almost feel like there was so many forces against us in our relationship because when we started dating at 18, when you're 18, you're different than when you're 19, and you're different from when you're 20, and you're different when you're at 20, 21, and I think things slow down a little bit after that. But for those beginner years in your adulthood, I think you change a lot every single year.
Absolutely.
And so most people, almost all my friends, broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend during that time. Like they would only date for 6 months or a couple years, and they broke up. And I think we were just able to kind of grow with each other, whereas a lot of people really struggle with that. And I think that's really the only way you can survive in a relationship as young as I did at 18 years old. You have to be able to grow with each other. Whereas I think when you guys started dating, you had maybe a stronger sense of your identity. You have to grow into each other, whereas you kind of just learn how to work together side by side. How to match,
merge our disparate
what you had already
lives
decided.
Right. Which in hindsight would be really stressful, I think. Having not dated much before, because I came out when I was 26 or 27, and so like having not really dated seriously because I was like, well, this seems like a waste of time.
Boyfriend for a year and a half.
Well, I'm talking about before that though.
Oh,
like in those formative years when you're with the whole self-discovery thing, it was all internally focused because I was like, I should date girls because that's what people say, but I don't want to, so I'm not going to, kind of thing. And so it was all internally focused, and then established an identity to a point where it's like, here's who I am and I know who I am. I mean, to an extent, like your late 20s, you're pretty well established in like your habits and your identity and your personality and all those sorts of things. And so it's like finding what meshes.
I think another thing that's also a big difference is that we both had previous relationships that we gained experience from.
That's also true.
So that helped us know more what we wanted out of a relationship. You know, I was in a 5-year marriage. You had a boyfriend that basically pulled you out of the closet.
Also
essentially.
True. Yes.
And by the time we were done with those relationships, we knew what we did not want.
When you're younger, you're like, sure, whatever, here's this person that I like being with.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's enough.
That's it,
right?
100%.
And it's like, and then you're like, wait, but then you do this, and you have this habit, and this doesn't mesh well, and blah, blah, blah. All the while, you are also changing as a person, and so that's like this whole mass of chaos that stresses me out to think about.
And because of that, Chris and I have had to go through probably like maybe 2 or 3 really bad points in our relationship, because you get to a point where you're like, okay, we can't just keep relying on the fact that like, I like being around you, like, you know, we have a serious problem in our relationship because, you know, we don't know everything about each other right now. So I think we've reached probably 2 or 3 points in our relationship where like things got really bad.
Really come to Jesus moments.
Jesus, I need you for a minute.
Jesus, take the wheel. Speaking of which, have you seen, it's in Utah actually, a company where they take photos with an actor who plays Jesus. Hang on, we're gonna pull this up and show you.
Yeah, this is what they do.
Why? This is so creepy,
right? Also,
why does he need to have a stick? You guys know he didn't have a stick, right? Like that was the Western creation. He didn't. Oh my God.
Also, like Jesus wasn't.
So like
he also wasn't white.
Right? No.
Interestingly, Chris has said in the past. I don't know if he still has this perspective. We haven't talked about it in a while, but he's always talked about how the fact that he wants to get married in a church, and I do not want to get married in a church. No, thank you.
It sounds like you talked about it.
Yeah, well, we were like on the phone like earlier today, and he was like, "Can we just get married now?" And I'm just like,
"Yeah."
Oh yeah. And I was like, well, let's talk about this another time.
We've talked about it, and for us, it's like as soon as we can afford a good enough party, then we'll do it.
But for you,
marriage to me is just something that I would do maybe when I'm like 27 or 28 or 29, like.
like 2 or 3 years ago.
I don't know. Anyways.
Have you guys talked about having kids? Do you want to be parents?
I think earlier on in our relationship, he was talking about how he like really wanted to have a lot of kids, but I think he's slowed down in his mentality.
What does a lot mean?
4, I think 4.
That is a lot. So, for other people who either want to be in relationships or are in relationships and trying to figure out how to like navigate these relationships,
especially those who are younger,
yes,
who had your experience, who might be in similar experiences,
what would you give as advice to them about those relationships?
I would say that there are a lot of problems in relationships that you can resolve that you don't necessarily need to break up. However, breaking up with someone and being alone is not the scariest thing in the world, and you will get through that. I look past that. Previously in my relationship, I think if we had broken up, we probably should. There was a few points where I think we went through pretty immature phases, and we probably should have broken up. But we moved past it, and our relationship is amazing right now. But there were a couple really immature points because we were so young that I think we probably should have broken up, and if we had broken up, I would have been okay. But at the time, I thought like that would have been like the end of the world. Like I'm losing like this incredible guy, and like how am I gonna like get past this? So
I'm losing this incredible guy, but I also can't stand him. Right?
Yeah, just can't. I really hate him just so much. I'm just there for the money. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Just kidding, Chris.
Slip there.
Just kidding, Chris. Because I think when you're young, in your younger teenage years or young adulthood, you kind of think of like breaking up with your significant other as like the end of the world.
Totally.
Like being alone is just scary, and it doesn't have to be scary. There's lots of other people out there in the world for you. You have your family that loves you. You have friends that love you, and so if you're going through that, it's gonna be okay.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below with advice for relationships that you've learned from positive or negative experiences, failed relationships, successful relationships.
Or if you'd like us to talk about your relationship, send us a message and maybe we'll address it if you have a certain relationship concern.
Ooh,
that could be really fun.
Like what's the newspaper article? Ask Abby.
Ask Daddy.
Ask Daddy.
Oh. New segment coming soon.
Trademark that.
I just got chills. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Because we're cool dads.
I put like 3s on those.
We're just flashing gang signs now. Like, where did this come from?
This is a family-friendly channel.